The crystal dome of the Varelian High Court rang with silence after the Queen's words echoed across it. "No one wants my daughter." Queen Oshalin of Varelia stood from her throne, 6-meter banners of living silk rippling behind her. Her voice cracked despite the amplifiers woven into the chamber's air. Around her sat the gathered representatives of 100 star systems. Scaled, furred, luminous, metallic, and things that defied easy classification. They had come for a single reason: the ancient rite of binding. Princess Serelith stood at the Queen's side, her head bowed. She was tall even by Varelian standards, her bioluminescent veins glowing faintly through pale, opalescent skin. Her eyes, too many, the diplomats whispered, reflected the starlight filtering through the dome. She was brilliant, kind, and devastatingly powerful. And utterly unwanted. The rite of binding was simple in theory. To prevent dynastic wars, the Varelian throne was secured through union with an off-world champion, someone strong enough to stand beside the future queen and symbolize unity among the stars. For millennia, suitors had competed. Wars had been fought just for the right to try. Until Serelith was born. She was different. Her mind reached farther. Her psionic resonance burned brighter. As a child, she accidentally silenced a moon. As an adolescent, she bent gravity during a panic attack. Entire species whispered the same word when her name was spoken. Unstable. One by one, the suitors had declined. The Drakari cited unacceptable casualty projections. The Eland choir said her presence disrupted their collective harmony. The Korth Dominion simply walked out after their champion collapsed unconscious within 10 meters of her. Now the hall was emptying. Chairs scrape. Translation drones powered down. The rite was failing, and with it, the ancient accords that kept Varelia from civil war. Queen Ashelin's hands trembled as she looked out over the departing delegates. "My daughter is not a weapon," she said hoarsely. "She is not a curse. She is my child." No one answered. I hadn't planned to speak. I was there as an observer. Lieutenant Commander Elias Ward, United Terran Systems Diplomatic Corps. Humanity was new to this level of galactic politics. We were still considered interesting, useful, loud, short-lived, harmless. I'd watched the proceedings with a growing knot in my chest. Every rejection landed like a physical blow, not just to the Queen, but to the girl beside her who tried so hard not to flinch. I thought of Earth, of how we feared our own outliers once, how we locked away the gifted, the strange, the powerful, how we learned, too late sometimes, that power without belonging becomes destruction. The hall doors hissed open as the last delegation left. That was when I stepped forward. My boots echoed far too loudly on the crystal floor. A dozen security constructs turned toward me instantly. The Queen's eyes snapped up, sharp and wary. "I will," I said. The words surprised even me. "I will stand for the right." A murmur rippled through the chamber. Princess Serelith lifted her head for the first time, all her eyes fixing on me. I felt the pressure then, a vast oceanic presence brushing against my thoughts. Most species screamed. I swallowed and kept walking. "I am human," I continued, stopping before the dais. "From Earth. And I volunteer to bind my life to your daughter's, if she will have me." The Queen stared. "Human," she said slowly. "You know what my daughter is." "Yes, Your Majesty," I replied. "I've read the reports, seen the projections. And you still step forward." I met her gaze. "Yes." Serelitha's voice was soft but carried effortlessly. "You are not afraid." I considered lying. Instead I smiled, a very human thing. "I am," I said. But fear isn't always a reason to run. The rite began within the hour. They tested me, of course. Everyone did. I stood within Seralitha's psionic field while machines measured neural integrity. Alarms screamed. Monitors overloaded. A lesser mind would have shattered. Mine adapted. Human brains are stubborn things. I remembered my training, my childhood, the weight of billions of small fears we carry every day just to exist. I grounded myself in mundane thoughts. Coffee, rain on pavement, the sound of my sister laughing. The pressure became tolerable. Seralitha's surprise brushed my mind like a shy question. You are still here? Yeah, I thought back, barely realizing I was thinking at her. Yes, I am. For the first time, her glow warmed. The middle trials were worse. Physical compatibility, neural synchronization, emotional resonance. We failed half of them by galactic standards. But then the human metrics came in. Resilience, adaptability, emotional bonding speed. Off the charts. Where Seralitha's power surged uncontrollably, my presence dampened it. Not by force, but by absorption. Human neurology didn't fight the storm. It rode it. Our emotions, our chaos, our constant low-level anxiety made us strangely resistant to overload. She stabilizes around him, one Varelian scientist whispered in disbelief. No, another corrected. She rests. By the final trial, Seralith stood beside me without fear for the first time in her life. Her thoughts no longer lashed outward. They curled inward, curious, hopeful. The rite concluded beneath the open stars. Queen Oshalin wept openly as the ancient bonds formed. Not chains, but threads of shared intent. The galactic delegates returned in stunned silence as the outcome became clear. The rite had succeeded. Not because Seralith was diminished, but because she was finally understood. In the weeks that followed, everything changed. Varelia did not collapse into war. Blossomed. With human mediation, new accords formed. Mixed-species research teams studied the unexpected harmony between human and Varelian minds. The term unstable quietly vanished from Seralitha's files. As for us, we learned. She learned what it meant to be held without fear. I learned what it meant to stand beside something vast without needing to conquer it. On the day of her coronation, Seralith took the throne not as a feared anomaly, but as a queen. When the crowd roared, she looked at me and smiled. Not the terrifying radiance of a psionic prodigy, but the simple, brilliant smile of someone who had finally been chosen. Much later, as we stood alone beneath alien constellations, she asked me the question I knew had been waiting. Why did you step forward, Elias Ward, when no one else would? I thought of Earth again. Of humanity's long history of broken people, second chances, and reckless hope. Because, I said, humans are very good at loving things the universe says we shouldn't. She took my hand, her power gentle now, warm as starlight. And for the first time in galactic history, the stars whispered a new truth. Sometimes the most dangerous force in the universe isn't power. It's a human who refuses to walk away.